would hire a man, but it's, you know, we've got a vibe going. It's very women empowerment. We're proud to be fully women owned and women run. So
that sounds positive, right? From the culture side of things, everybody gets along.
Yeah.
Is there any negative sides to having an all women employee base?
No.
Okay, I guess that's the lesson for today. Please go to
time.
all women teams. I think that's the way to go for the future.
Yeah.
What's the positive for you? I mean, I have a lot of women employees, typically more women than men. What's the positive that you see of having that? Treading water is the same as drowning to people like you and me. You better start swimming. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rob Green. Liv Plew, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you.
And I said that a little bit funny because you're transitioning from Olivia to Liv.
I am.
I love that.
Yeah.
So this is the demarcation now.
I mean, 2024.
New friends know you as Liv. Old friends know you as Olivia.
Well, Livy.
Livy.
Which I'm trying to really get away from because it sounds like a little girl. In my opinion, you know, I know that there's adults named Livy, but...
Were you Livy as a child then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I was like, Olivia will be my professional name. And then it just Liv feels more right. So I'm really leaning into it.
I love it. I only have a few friends that still call me Robbie as a kid.
Robbie.
And I have maybe like 2 to 3 friends that'll call me when I go back to Minnesota, which is just shocks me when that happens.
Am I 6 again?
Yeah, exactly. But so you're the owner of LC Creative Marketing.
Yep.
And we're here to talk about your business, kind of how you got into this business, and then break down the business and see if there's any opportunities maybe to tweak it or make it a little bit better and hopefully improve it in some capacities. So tell us a little bit. You started off before this conversation. Tell me you're not a marketing person. So what's your background before you started the marketing company?
Yeah. No, I was originally in journalism. Well, I switched my major 4 times before I settled on journalism. And I thought, you know, I want to be the next Erin Andrews. I think I can do it. I was really into sports. I was the intramural coordinator in college. So I wanted to blend sports with like photography or being in front of the camera. And then like 3 months before I graduated, the Chamber of Commerce back up in Washington called me and they were like, "You're graduating soon. Do you want to be our director of marketing?" And I was like, sure. So I flew back up to Washington. They're one of the largest chambers in the Pacific Northwest. So I didn't know anything about marketing. I knew there's going to be some social media stuff. I'm young and hip. I don't think I can say that anymore these days. But and so I learned a lot and realized marketing was kind of cool and started going to conferences and taking classes and really jumped into the marketing world. But I didn't have a marketing background and when I started the company. So
did you take the job first, learn some marketing, and then you said, I'm tired of working for other people and I want to start my own?
Yeah, after working there a couple years, I realized there were a lot of small to medium-sized businesses that needed high-quality marketing but didn't have the money for it. And so I thought, man, there's got to be some sort of tool or company that could start right here in the Valley and offer marketing services to those people. So I was like, maybe that'll be me. And so I just kind of did it. I was missing the design piece that I knew I needed for the marketing company, which is kind of how I met my business partner, Sarah. And within a week, it was like we had a logo, website, business license, all the paperwork, and we were up and off to the races. So it happened very quickly.
And the two of you are equal partners?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's always an interesting situation, especially when you're starting off, because so many of these relationships get started from need and maybe not fully assessed. Do you bring complementary skill sets? I've had good, bad, and ugly partners, and I've learned a lot about really understanding like complementary skill sets. So do you guys have different mindsets and different complementary skills? Oh,
we could not be more different.
Oh, great.
And it is great. I think at the beginning, the first couple years were rough because we had different ideas. She would probably say this. I have more of a growth, sales, business mindset. And she's a graphic designer. She's the best graphic designer I know. I know a lot. So she's got that creative side to her where that doesn't come as naturally. So we kind of butted heads at the beginning, and now it's like smooth sailing. It's just like I spend more time with her than I do my husband. Like it's actually a work marriage.
It's a partnership.
Oh my gosh, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of communication. So it took a while to find our stride, and once we did, it's been smooth sailing since. So, but yeah, business partnerships they're hard.
And the company is all women, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that a conscious decision or just accidental in the quality of employees that you found?
I think legally.
Accidentally, the only great people you found were women. It just so happens that they're all women. Okay, fair enough.
I would hire a man, but it's, we've got a vibe going. It's very women empowerment. We're proud to be fully women, women owned and women run. So
does that, so that sounds positive, right? From the culture side of things, everybody gets along.
Yeah.
Is there any negative sides to having an all women employee base?
No.
Okay, I guess that's the lesson for today. Please go to
time.
all women teams. I think that's the way to go for the future.
Yeah.
What's the positive for you? I mean, I have a lot of women employees, typically more women than men.
Yeah.
What's the positive that you see of having that?
Oh gosh. I mean, I think that we are all more in touch with our emotions. We're all super good at communicating. There's no. I will say, like, when we first started hiring people, because we're a team of 9 now, but when we were first starting to hire, when we were 3, 4, 5 of us, it was tricky figuring out, how can I say, like, period schedules and like when we're menstruating and like, she's menstruating this week, so she's going to be more emotional. And it was like so funny figuring that out at the beginning. And now that we've had the team for a while, the same women on our team, we just, I don't know, we just
you have a schedule.
We have a schedule.
Okay, that works.
And we communicate, and it's so great. There's literally no negative to being an all women team for us.
That might be the only group of 9 women that I've ever heard that get along so well all the time in my life. Is this a local? Are you guys together in an office physically?
No. We all work from home. We all work remotely.
All remote?
Yeah, all remote.
Okay.
I would say half of our team is back up in Washington.
Okay.
And then I'm here. We've got one who's on the road with her partner. They live in an RV and travel all over the country.
Okay.
We've got one in Texas. We're kind of, all over the place. Yeah.
So marketing is a broad term. So
Yeah.
let's talk about like what the offer is and then what your target market is. So when you say marketing and sales and marketing to creative marketing to companies, what are the primary things that you bring to the market?
LCCM particularly. Yeah. So we are a full service marketing agency with the exception of SEO. So we don't do SEO, SEM, Google AdWords. We work with a guy in Seattle who specializes in that. But when we sit down, we'll say this is something that I tell people all the time is each person on our team offers something different. So they specialize in something different. So I think that's why it's easier to pitch our agency than like hiring a director of marketing or a graphic designer or whatever. We're a third of the cost of that. And then also you've got 9 professionals and we all specialize in something different. We all bring something different to the table. So your marketing arm is really, really well-rounded.
And is this a one-time thing or is this an ongoing, typically with client engagement?
Both.
Okay.
Yep. I would say 80% of our clients are like on a retainer, monthly clients.
Okay.
And then probably 20% are like one time. They'll come to us when they want to rebrand or they need a new website or they need help with something as small as a flyer or business cards.
So you do rebrands?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Specialize in branding packages.
Funny enough, I put an offer in. Yeah. No, I just I put an offer in on a new brand on Monday. Just finalized the terms today.
Oh, did you?
And it needs a serious rebrand. So we've been talking to multiple agencies, actually.
Oh, funny.
Like in the last week to identify who we want to utilize to brand. We've done all of our branding in-house.
Okay.
I mean, we've used contractors for logo design or creatives and things like that over the years, but it's all been in-house. And just self-awareness wise, I think I'm good at it in some cases, mediocre in others. I don't think it's my unique ability.
Okay.
And so we've just learned over the years, it's who, not how. We want to find somebody that is a great fit for what we're trying to do. And that's one thing I've really learned a lot. And it's interesting about having an all-women team. We used to have an internal employee who was our creative director. And if he was a client of that type of product, dialed in. We have a brand that is whiskey decanters and cocktail smokers, and he's the customer. So it was perfect for him. He dialed in. We worked together, got the logo. It's awesome. The name's great. The styling is great. I think he just nailed it. We did a kids. No, he doesn't have any kids. He wasn't married at the time. And named a brand after my kids and just missed the mark.
Sure.
Like it just what he couldn't really relate to it or resonate with it. And that's one thing I've learned over the years of having a bunch of different brands is how do you need to find somebody who is the avatar of that brand and can relate to it and can resonate with it.
Yeah.
Or otherwise it's really, really difficult to create a brand for something you don't truly like feel and understand.
Yep.
Have you seen that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We just did a big rebrand just a couple months ago. And it was about moms. Well, we have a couple moms on the team. And it was like, if you guys were looking to buy this product, what would you be attracted to? And that honestly was so helpful because if someone comes to us, like we've done, I don't know, contracting logos or like, I don't want to say manly stuff because that's not
masculine, maybe.
Okay. And we always will turn to our husbands and be like, are you more attracted to this? Are you more attracted to this? So it's, that's totally, you can hit or miss the mark based off of who your consumer is, especially with a huge branding package is asking the consumer.
Right. So, okay. So 20% are these one-off kind of deals that might turn into recurring and customers and retainers. Is that fair to say? And then what does a typical customer look like? What are your typical customers? Are they service companies? Are they e-commerce businesses? It looks like everything is based on your face.
Oh my gosh, everything.
Okay.
We actually specialize in chambers of commerce.
Oh. The actual chamber of commerce.
Chambers, yeah.
Yeah.
All over. So we have like, I think 4 or 5 chambers as clients. And that just comes from my background working with the chamber in Washington. And so we really wanted to lean into that. So we do a lot of visitor guides, like mini guides, like where to eat in Phoenix, Arizona, whatever.
Printed materials.
Printed materials.
Okay.
Yeah. We also make them digital so that people can flip through them online. But that is primarily what we're trying to focus on right now is targeting chambers.
Okay.
But I would say, and I know this is crazy, but 80% of our sales is word of mouth.
Aren't you a marketing company?
Yeah.
So what do you guys do for marketing the business? But I'll go get to that in a second. But let's dive in here. So a handful of chambers of commerce.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big TAM, total addressable market in the United States. Aren't there hundreds, maybe 1,000 chambers of commerce in the United States?
Yes, as well as DMOs, destination marketing. They all have a different budget.
I gotcha.
So it's kind of figuring out like what does their current website look like?
Got
Do
it.
they look like they would have the funds to be able to hire us on? And then reaching out to those people on LinkedIn or emailing them directly. So it's we're not doing a mass outreach to every single chamber in the country, but targeting the ones that we think, oh, this might be a good fit for us, and I think it would be a good fit for them, and does it align? So
that's awesome. I like the idea of specialization in a niche.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's challenging to be great at everything, and so chambers of commerce would be really, really. That's like attorneys general as opposed to attorney generals. Like a chambers of commerce sounds a little weird saying it, but chambers of commerce. That is. It feels like there's a big opportunity there because I wouldn't feel like that's a niche. I've never heard of it, I guess, as a niche of client base.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's on a retainer. You're doing what for them?
I mean, we're their entire marketing arm, basically. Okay. So we do it all. So we do social media management, content creation, email marketing. We manage their website. Anytime they want anything designed, from a street banner to a flyer to business cards to rack card. I mean, we do everything for them. Those are our retainer clients. Our one times is for the chambers, mostly guides.
Okay.
Specializing in guides. So we meet with them, figure out what they're looking for, and then we come up with a design and a layout and pitch it to them, and they're like, we love it.
Are most chambers, how I don't know much about chambers. How are they funded?
Depends.
Okay.
So the one I worked for in Washington is partly funded by a little bit by the city,
okay,
a little bit by the county, and then membership dues. So it just depends. Some chambers they don't get any money from the city or from the county. And it's, mostly just membership dues, a little bit from the government. So it all varies. But those that are like tourism focused, tourism heavy is where the money is.
And you said a term I'm unfamiliar with earlier, DMO?
A destination marketing organization. So that could be like Visit London. They're not necessarily a chamber of commerce, but they represent an area, and it's more tourism heavy.
I met a woman a few years ago that managed something, I think something like that around like the Tempe Mill area.
Okay.
There was an organization of all the shops and owners in that area, and she ran that commerce/tourism funding that was funded all by the businesses in Tempe. And so that was like a mini chambers of commerce, I guess.
Interesting.
I guess that would be a DMO.
Yeah.
And so she ran that, and they had funding, and it was always about, the parade or the arts festival or whatever to continually draw new customers in to the restaurants and to the stores in that area.
Got it.
It probably qualifies as a DMO. I haven't heard of a DMO before.
Oh,
so
there you go.
So is it more, do you target DMOs or not?
Yeah. Both.
Okay. Okay. So the goal is to build recurring customers, I think, in almost every business. I mean, it's really hard to make money consistently over time when you sell one thing one time.
Yep.
I've learned this the hard way. I bought a business. We did fitness products, and the first product was a foam roller, and like for stretching out and mobility. And it's an amazing foam roller. It's made out of EVA foam. That's great as a selling point, but terrible for reorders because it lasts forever. So like, once you buy the foam roller, 10 years, you don't need another foam roller, right? So it's like you're selling one product. It's hard to make money. We talk a lot about lifetime value. We just finished our mastermind last couple of days, and a lot of the conversation is around KPIs such as lifetime value, cost per acquisition, CAC, and understanding that, because those are the two main KPIs to think about from a marketing perspective. I need my LTV to be large enough to pay for my CAC. So how do I keep my CAC down? How do I improve my lifetime value? Which there's all these different ways to do that. Obviously, you can get someone to pay more money per order. You can get them to make more orders more frequently. You can get them to be a customer longer. So I think you'd mentioned before we started recording a little bit about retention.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how you're thinking about retention now from your client base.
Retention was not really anything we necessarily had to think about the first couple years.
Okay.
Because we were it. We were the only option in the valley. And now that, other competitors have started up, completely different vibes. And I don't even like viewing them as competitors because we are so different and we offer kind of the same services, but completely different vibes. And once they started popping up in the valley, I was like, we really need to make sure our clients know, like, we are the option, not just a option. So started flying, because I moved here almost 4 years ago. I started flying up once a quarter and meeting with clients and making sure they knew, like, I'm here, even though I live in Arizona now, I'm present, I'm around. And then trying to do like small things that my business partner is so good at, Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, making them feel that we're constantly thinking about them. And so last year we started doing long end of year reports, decks for them that were like 30, 40 slide decks. That's like, here's everything we did for you. And that's not something we ever did before. We just started that last year and they were really impressed by that. So I would say 2023 was the year of figuring out how to retain our clients. We knew the economy was kind of iffy and we wanted to capitalize on that. And now 2024, we're kind of looking at more of a growth, figuring out how to grow and get more clients through the door. So.
This is gonna be fun. I want to dig into this.
Oh no.
This is fun because this is what I like talking about. So I love talking about, we talk about this all the time about how do we get more clients? How do we figure out how to strategically and tactically attack this challenge of getting more clients? So if you feel really good about your retention right now, right? And so do you have any idea? I mean, if you're fine with it, I'd love to get in the details of this. So how long does an average client stay with you?
Oh gosh.
A year, 2 years?
Our monthly clients, I would say, at least 3 years.
That's an amazing amount of time.
I'm a foo-foo marketer. I'm not a numbers girly.
Oh,
so
well, I'm gonna help you with the numbers. I'm gonna help you with the numbers.
Cool.
This is great. Okay, so 3 years.
Yeah.
On a monthly basis.
That's average. I mean, I would say 5 of our clients we've had from the beginning, really.
7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the average is 3 years, I'm sure some are going to wash out. You're not going to be a good fit for them. They lose funding. Something's going to happen. That's never. So we're talking about averages here.
Yes.
Okay. Not going to hold your feet to the fire, Liv. What is your average charge to a chambers of commerce? Obviously, the services you provide are different. Are we talking 5,000 a month, 3,000 a month, 10,000 a month? Like, what's an average rough idea?
We charge, so our design on retainer packages are a minimum of 10 hours a month.
Okay.
And we charge $150 an hour.
Okay.
Some of our clients are, 20 hours a month, some are 30. It just depends. And also because we're from like a small town, we have like a mom and pop rate. So like the really small agency or really small like boutique store comes to us and they're like, we need help. We'll give them a killer deal because we still like the small guys. I mean, that's what got us to where we are today. So
you're not quite as ruthless as some other people is what you're saying.
Not at all.
Okay. All right.
Not at all.
So what I'm hearing is 10 hours a month would be $1,500. 30 hours a month would be $4,500 a month. Is $3,000 a month a fair average? For a monthly, or would you say it skews a little lower?
It skews a little lower because of our mom and pops.
So let's be conservative. I'm a numbers guy. This is going to be fun.
Okay.
So let's just say 2,000.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say 2,000. So how I think about lifetime value is if the average customer stays with you for 36 months and it's $2,000 a month, that's a $72,000 lifetime value. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's insanely high in my world.
Amazing.
Incredibly high. We deal in tens of dollars, not tens of thousands of dollars to acquire customers. So
got it.
For me, that's just, I mean, it's a totally different market, totally different business, totally get that, but that's unbelievable. So I have a saying I say all the time. Most people haven't heard it the first time at least, and they've heard it from me probably 5 or 10 times, but I have an unlimited budget for profitable activities. So for you to acquire a customer that makes you $72,000 in revenue, you have a very, very high budget. So when I think about acquisition, which is called cost per acquisition, right? And obviously you got employees, and we'll just use an average bottom line. Typical businesses, 20% net goes to the bottom line from your gross revenue. So if we took 20% of 72,000, it'd be $14,400.
Did you just do that in your head?
Yes.
Amazing.
Thanks. I'm a numbers guy. So we're going to go nice and smooth and easy for you here. So let's call it $14,000. Okay. Of net profit. So a lot of times when people talk about lifetime value, they talk about the revenue side, but you do need to really apply your margin of your particular business to understand what that profit looks like. Okay. Right. So one of my employees, Elizabeth, and I just had this conversation. She started a house cleaning business a few months ago, and we went through the lifetime value. At the end of the conversation, I was like, you need to buy way more leads because every one of these people, the math makes sense. So we're going to walk through this with you. This is going to be super fun if you're open to it.
I'm open to it.
So, all right, $14,000 in profit over a 3-year period from an average consumer. Customer, sorry. So in that case, you have up to $14,000 to spend in marketing to acquire a customer.
In marketing. So you're saying that's after I've spent software. Okay, that's interesting.
So, and this is a really important thing because...
Don't tell my accountant that.
Yeah, no, you do. Well, so we're going to dig into this. So I talk about this all the time with friends and stuff. Most people don't know their lifetime value. Let's start there. Most companies have no idea. That's the starting point, understanding your lifetime value of your average customer. And then once you know that, we can dig in more and say, all right, well, customers I get from word of mouth typically have a higher lifetime value versus cold, outbound calling and things like that, right? There's different cohorts or different categories of how we acquire customers. Based on that, those each have their own lifetime value. So in my world in e-commerce, if somebody comes on Amazon, let's say, and they buy at full price versus buying off of a huge discount, they're more likely to have a higher lifetime value because they're more comfortable with already paying the full price versus the discounted price. So we try to analyze that to understand the value of each customer, and then is it worth it, like doing a promotion, for example, in this case. But starting point is to get that revenue per average lifetime value of customer, then to understand your profit margins and what you operate at after all your expenses and software and people and things like that. So I'm just using 20%. It could be 10% or 30% depending on your business of your margin. So if you're at a 20% margin, you take the 20% of the lifetime value of the revenue, 72,000 times the 20, you get to 14,400. We'll round it down to 14,000. We'll call it $14,000. Now, that means over 3 years, every customer you spend less than $14,000 to acquire makes money. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the problem with that math. The problem is you're only making $2,000 a month in revenue. So if you were to spend $14,000 up front, you're going to take 3 years to get all that money back, right? So then it's like a payback period. And in this case, let's say the average customer, and I'm going to slow down because I tend to go really fast with math. So I'm going to slow down. My mind goes a lot faster than my words do. So I'm trying to stay slow here. I start speeding up. I can feel myself speeding up. So $2,000 a month of revenue times 20% would be like $400 a month in profit, roughly, in an average business. With that being said, if you did spend $2,000, let's say, to acquire a customer, it would take you 5 months of making the $400 a month to get that back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's understanding these specific acquisition costs and lifetime value allows you to be the agency in your business. And what I mean by that, the companies that don't do this, and I'll speak to my space in particular in e-commerce, when they think about it, they think, oh, how much does it cost me to acquire this customer? I think about it from a lifetime value. So I have more money to spend on marketing, which means I can outbid them in the marketing, right? And that's a big, big mind shift for most people, especially people that come from, I worked in corporate America for far too long. People who work in corporate America have budgets in their head. I have this budget. Well, I have an unlimited budget for profitable activities. If I put in $1 and you give me $2 back, I will do that all day long, every day. I will borrow money from everybody I know. I'll sell a kidney. I'll do that every day of the week because it just makes me more money, right? So that's how I think about that. So you may want to get a little bit more firm on those numbers of saying, really what is our average customer? Where did those great customers come from? How do I then do more of that? What could I do to leverage more of that, right? Is that an easy one, because you're a big word of mouth business. An easy one would be great. You've been with us for 5 or 6 years. What's the person that runs the Chambers of Commerce? What's their title typically?
Executive Director.
Executive Director of a Chambers of Commerce. I'm sure there's a conference of Chambers of Commerce.
Oh,
I'm sure there's
we've looked, yes.
all of those things, right?
Yeah.
But you find one that already loves you, loves your services, believes in you, and you're like, hey, listen, here's what I want you to do. I feel like we've done a great job for you for the last 7 years. You love us. We love you. I need you to help me find more customers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join you at that next conference, and we're going to go together, and I'd love for you to just kind of share your experience with a few other people. Is that okay? And they're going to do what you're doing, and they're going to nod because they love it, right? And so you're going to be able to use their word of mouth and their experience and their credibility to help to get you new customers. And generally, people love reciprocity, law of reciprocity. So if you do something for them, they will typically help you. If you can find a way to add value to them, they're going to want to help you back.
Sure.
So I would think that would be the low-hanging fruit for you to grow the easiest customers. We've experienced this. Cold email, cold phone calls, cold marketing is 10 times harder than getting a customer from someone that already loves you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It makes it so much easier. I refer someone to a friend, and they just go, hey, Rob said I have to sign up. And they just sign up. So it's like that credibility that you're borrowing. I think that would be a great way to start, is to go that. But I would really go, and I don't think it's you, Liv, no offense, to do the numbers first. To dig into the numbers, but somebody on the team to dig into the numbers and really understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
And then just do the math and say, all right, I know how much I make per customer. I know what my margin is on average. I have this much money. It's just perfect timing from our mastermind just ended last night for the last couple of days. One of the guys significantly, he launched a product that he has a laser hair helmet.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the premium brands in the marketplace. And he launched a significantly better and more expensive recently and did a rebrand, and it crushed. He absolutely crushed. He's got a whole new business now, essentially, because he now has a much higher lifetime value, which allows him much more money to market with. And so that allows him to feed the machine more, to get the marketing up and running, and then more happy customers lead to more customers, lead to Costco, lead to retail, it just continues to build that and spread the word and the brand awareness about his brand. And so you've got to spin that flywheel faster is kind of how I think about it. So for me, I think you've got some really great opportunities to go out there and spread the word amongst have your favorite customers and customers that love you spread the word for you.
Yeah. 100%. I'm amazed that the business has gotten to the point where it has with me not knowing any of what you just said. I mean, not that I didn't know it. I don't have a marketing background. So I was like, I can manage people. I can figure it out. But yeah, it kind of blows my mind.
Was the term you used earlier foo-foo technical? Yes. Is that the marketing you do, foo-foo?
Yeah. It's a technical term.
Technical. I didn't know that. Is that journalism? So foo-foo is what? Tell me what that means. Like you said, I'm really good at the foo-foo stuff, not the numbers. What does that mean?
I consider myself a content creator. Not an influencer by any means, but
what's the difference for our audience?
Like I would say a content creator is I make content for other people.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to be an influencer.
Okay.
But I make the content so that other people can be successful.
This is a mindset question.
Yeah.
Why don't you do it for yourself?
I mean, I make my own content, but it's mostly just for my friends. I don't want to be, I don't know.
Oh,
famous.
Fair enough. I'm just curious. You don't want to be famous?
No.
Okay.
I don't have a desire to be famous.
Okay.
But I like creating content and watching the content that I create for other brands take off. That to me is exciting. So that's kind of where the foo-foo comes from. It's like I like making cute little, videos on TikTok and content. But I wouldn't consider. I worked for Success Magazine for a short period of time, for about 9 months.
Okay.
And my boss, she's a total badass, Cece Mice. She's not a foo-foo. She's a numbers girly. And I was always so impressed when she would, show up with all the technical terms and stuff. And I'm like, man, I do wish that could be me, but I'm just a foo-foo content creator.
Well, everyone's got their own skill set. So just to be clear, I have no foo-foo skills, I don't think. So let's talk about foo-foo content creation. This is a fascinating, I have this belief also. I tend to be very positive that the universe works for me. So the universe always works for me. And having you here at this time is just fascinating to me because we have been spending more and more time on investing in understanding TikTok shops. And on TikTok. So when you say you create content for somebody else, in this case, it's like the chambers of commerce.
One client,
Okay. Well, can you give us a different example of content creation?
Like other clients? Or?
Sure, yeah, like a different style or different type of client.
I have one of my clients is an alpine coaster in Washington. Washington's first alpine coaster.
What is
in
alpine
Leavenworth.
coaster?
It's like one of those, you've seen them like in Switzerland or Germany, and you can like control your own, and they're coming down the mountains.
Yes, I've done one in New Zealand a long time ago.
Okay. So they have one now up in Washington, in the little Bavarian town of Leavenworth. So they're one of our clients. And I take, either video that I've shot myself when I go up and visit, or video that one of their employees takes, and then I whip it all up and make videos to promote the alpine coaster. And
I don't want to get into technical terms, but whip it all up. What does that mean?
Sorry.
These are good. This is good.
I take my video editor app and I create videos in it, and then I send it to the client and I'm like, does this look good? And they're like, we love it. And then I post it.
This is why having complementary skills is super important, because like the foo-foo and the whip it up, it seems like I don't know where to start. Like, give me a recipe. Like for me, like the math, give me the numbers. I do this in my sleep, backwards, forwards. But like the foo-foo, I struggle with matching up, especially with TikTok. For example, we did a little at the mastermind yesterday. We did a workshop about TikTok shops, and I look at a lot of these things that are generating revenue. These videos are generating significant revenue, and we all look at each other and go, "How the heck is this happening?" They're terrible videos. The content is not great. Some of it's AI. Some of it looks like a person that just woke up and walked out in terrible clothes, and you're like, it's very interesting how, especially in my lifetime, it's changed from aspirational, here is the image that you want to attain and look like, to now it seems like, my perception is, it really resonates with the average person, or not even the average person, someone that looks like them. So there's all sorts of people, but it seems like it's not quite as aspirational. It's more like who relates to me, who represents me the closest. Is who I listen to, which is fascinating to me as I've seen this transition.
It's the #1 trend in 2024.
Okay, tell me more.
All of the marketing, like HubSpot and Hootsuite, they're all talking about people want authentic content. They don't want it to be overly edited or overly put together. They want it to be people like you and me that they wake up, you know, or like getting ready with me. Like getting ready with me videos.
I feel like I did more than just wake up and walk in here, but thank you for that.
Well,
it's not coming across very well.
Too, so it's what the people want, especially Gen Zs. They want, you know, they're almost like caught off guard or put off by people that try too hard.
So how do you think about, and this might be natural for you, this is where this might be one of your unique abilities, but how do you tap into that zeitgeist and figure out like what you need to create to tap into that and share the authentic?
I'm always online.
Okay.
So that's a separate conversation of setting boundaries, but constantly looking at what's trending and trying to replicate that. But all of our clients are so different and they have completely different brands. So I know this is maybe weird, but every single brand that I work with, I look as a person.
You create an avatar?
Kind in my head.
Yep.
So like the Alpine coaster, I'm like, okay, if she was going to post on TikTok using this trend, what would she do? Okay. And then I create that based off of what I think she as a person would create.
And this is just natural for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see it and you're like, I got this. She's 38, blonde hair, green eyes.
She's got 2 kids.
1.5 kids. Drives a minivan. Dad's soccer coach.
Yeah.
You got this. It just pops in your head.
After spending time with the brand.
Understanding the brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me,
that's a skill, by the way. That's a world-class skill, by the way. I think most people don't have.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I have really leaned into it the last few years, and it's been working really well for our business and for me. But yeah, I don't know. I think the authentic part comes from thinking like the brand's a person.
Okay. So. And then you try to put yourself in those shoes, and what would they want to see? Is that how you think about it next?
No, then I'm going off of numbers.
Oh, now we're switching over to some data. Tell me more.
Yeah. So we use a reporting software called Dash This, and they keep track
of called?
Dash This.
Dash This.
Dashthis.com.
Okay. All right.
And it keeps track of all of our social media reporting, analytics. And so, you know, every month my team and I are going in and being like, these were the top 5 posts from this last month. Like, why were they attracted to that? And then we dive into, was it the content? Was it the caption? Was it the way we wrote something? Was it the time of day that we posted? You know, that kind of stuff. So I guess I'm not as foo-foo. That's when the numbers come in. And I do like playing with numbers when we're doing that.
But this is after the fact.
Yeah.
So this is not before you've created the content.
No, I'm just whipping up what I think in my head.
We're whipping and foo-fooing, and now we have content.
Yep.
And at that point, we take the content, and then we see what works.
Yes.
And then how do you think about that? You get I call it a feedback loop. So you get a feedback loop of how the data is.
Yeah.
Then at that point, you do you identify how do you figure out what worked and what didn't work? Like you've got data. This A worked, B didn't work.
Yeah.
What do you do next?
It's just A/B testing, really.
Okay.
I mean, figuring out these captions were relatively the same, but this one was a lot better. And I think it's because it had more drone shots. So then I'm like, let's just focus on more drone shots for this, but but keep the caption the same. It's A/B testing.
Okay.
And then or like the Get Ready With Me did really well, but the Come Shopping With Me didn't. Then it's just doing more of the Get Ready With Me with different vibes, different twists, different.
And your internal team, I say this, the humans are creating this content. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Have you started using AI in any capacity?
Oh, yes. Much AI.
Okay, tell me more. I love AI. Big fan.
We decided to really lean into it. We're mostly just using, we'll use ChatGPT, who doesn't these days. But then we'll also use like Adobe Firefly, Adobe Express, and we're using AI when we're doing like social graphics or GIFs or whatever. Using AI in videos is something that I want to dabble in more in 2024.
Like an InVideo or something like that?
Yeah.
CapCut.
Yep. We use CapCut, but I think that there's probably a course out there that I will take in the next few months to really dive into AI for video is something that I want to do more of. So.
Yeah, I've been playing around with that myself because I've seen a lot of this on TikTok for shops perspective, and they're 100% AI videos.
And you're drawn to them.
I'm drawn to them only because of the results, because they're generating revenue for the businesses on shops, and so which doesn't make. I mean, it's an obvious AI, like almost cartoonish AI, and even the content's not great, but it's getting likes and follows and sales, which is shocking to me.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
So we were just playing with it last night, and I downloaded one of the videos from TikTok, and I downloaded my friend's images, and I just layered it over the top of that portion of the product video. I mean, AI sucks at letters and words, right? And it's, I mean, it doesn't even spell it right in the AI, right? And so we just inserted, one of the guys in the group inserted on top, and I'm like, go upload this to your TikTok. Just borrow theirs, change it, upload it. So we'll see if it performs or not. But I think I'd love to get your opinion on this, because this is a belief that I have that I'm not, I don't have a strong belief in it, but I do think that these micro niches and this relevancy is going to continue on this trend more and more. Especially, it feels like Minority Report to me. If you've ever seen the movie where you walk in front, like in the movies, old movie with Tom Cruise now, but he would walk by and the screen would change and it was a targeted ad to him, right? And it feels like we're getting closer and closer to that, and it feels like the influencers are getting more niche and more niche and more niche, and the only way to really do that at scale is with an AI. And so I feel like we're going to be going down very quickly that path where you're going to have, like I said, and you said, but the 38-year-old, blonde hair, green eyes, 2 kids, minivan, like that's going to be the avatar that's talking, creating the content.
And I wonder how that's going to play into what's trending now. I mean, obviously AI is trending, but the authentic, we want to see humans. We want to see them untouched. We want to see them without makeup. How is that going to fit into AI? Because those are 2 completely different things, right? So
what do you think? If you had to predict.
I mean, I think that there will be a mix of both, but I don't think that the allure to the untouched influencer will ever go away.
Interesting. I mean,
because people want to see other people that look just like them. Oh, they have 50 million followers on TikTok, but they're just like you and me. Alex Earle eats her pasta for dinner in her kitchen.
Yes, yeah, I don't know who that is. I don't follow her.
Oh,
and us guys are big dumb animals. So they're like, there are OnlyFans that are all AI, right? So like it's an OnlyFans. I mean, this is a whole like different topic probably, but I've heard from people that the OnlyFans accounts are real people, but then when you again, big dumb animals, guys will pay money to do subscriptions, and then what happens is they'll chat. Well, the person chatting isn't the woman. The person chatting is some guy in Bangladesh in an office, and there's thousands of them. No, this is real. They manage. There are agencies that manage OnlyFans accounts. It's not the woman there chatting with 800 dudes who are doing gifts and stupid stuff like that. So like,
wait, that's genius. I should have come up with that.
Yes, I've thought
agencies are raking in the money.
Yes, they are. They are for sure. I've heard they are.
Take advantage of the men.
Yes, take advantage of the guys who think they are conversing with a woman. And I mean, that's why I think AI girlfriends and that stuff. I've seen a few that have been built, and you're like, oh, we were talking about it this week. And I think AI girlfriends and people are gonna. It's pretty crazy. It feels like Black Mirror, which I love that show.
Yes.
Feels like a lot of this is coming to fruition. So how does somebody, like an action item, how does somebody that has a small business, they hopefully they know their customer base, right? They've polled them, they understand them. How do they go about taking action, saying, I want to build content, or I want to employ an agency? I think there's multiple questions. Let's say they want to build the content themselves. How do they try to get in the heads of their avatar, their consumer base, to build content? Do you have any recommendations?
I mean, yes, be online.
Okay.
Because I think the more content you consume, the more you're like, that applies to what I want to do, or that's not a good fit.
Okay.
The second thing for me is I'm getting older.
We all are, just to be clear.
So I have to take courses, and I took a course last year, like in April, and it was me and a bunch of 19-year-olds.
Okay.
And it was like a TikTok class.
Yeah.
And I was like, gotta stay relevant. And it
100%.
was amazing.
I would sign up for a TikTok class if I could find it.
I learned so much, honestly.
Like, is it in class, like in person?
It's Zoom, yeah.
I want to take that class.
It was really,
I love it.
It was really fun. What was your question? I have ADHD, so I'm all over the place.
That's fine. So if a business owner wants to learn about the content, how do they think about how should they attack it? If they don't want to outsource yet, and then we'll cover the outsourcing question second. So, but number
Anyone
one
can make content.
Okay.
right? Anyone can make it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of terrible content.
Yeah. Can you make it well? So I think it's being online, trying things out, like the A/B testing.
Don't be afraid to test.
Yeah, don't be afraid to test, because some things that I'll spend an hour making an Instagram reel that totally tanks. And I'm like, ooh, okay, well, that was annoying when I made this social graphic and it took 2 minutes to create and it's blown up. But just keep trying, put things out there, and then see what sticks and what doesn't. And when it doesn't stick for a long time, that's when you reach out to someone like me who's like, I need help.
Okay, so that's a great second part of it. So some people like myself would say, all right, listen, we talk about Who Not How. Have you read the book Who Not How? Genius. It's by a guy, Dan Sullivan. He owns and founds Strategic Coach. And it's all about, we all have the same problem. We want to do something and we go, well, like you just said, but how do I do it? And now I got to go take a class and I got to learn. Instead, I believe, and what Dan teaches is like find the who that already knows how to do it and then hire that person.
Oh, sure.
As opposed to starting with the how. So I think it's challenging. I've worked with a bunch of agencies, all different capacities of types of agencies over the last 15 years or so. How does someone find an agency that doesn't over-deliver and under-promise, which has been typically my experience with agencies? How does someone evaluate an agency?
Gosh, that's a good question. I start with reviews.
Okay.
What are your peers saying about them? You know? Because there's even been businesses that we've wanted to reach out to, or we're like, oh, we hear such good things about them. But then online, they've got, 3 out of 5 stars on Google, and everyone's saying they're dishonest, they didn't deliver this on time, yada, yada. And I think that that's important. So I would trust reviews. But I also think there's something to be said about like exploratory calls, like getting in front of someone. I feel like most people have a good BS radar.
You give people more credit than I do, I think.
Oh, really?
Well, I just think, and the reason I say is there are a lot of salespeople out there that...
Oh, yeah. I feel like I can see right through them. You can't? I know you can because you're smart, but...
Well, thank you. I feel comfortable seeing through it. But some people are really good, and it's hard to discern, I think. So I also have a little bit different experience doing e-commerce that the reviews, maybe I'm a little more skeptical. I don't trust them quite as much.
Yeah.
Because some of them may be not real. So I think that the reviews are definitely a great way to start. I think
on Google. Amazon's different. You know what I mean? Like Amazon reviews, I think is what you're talking about. Or like on...
Oh, I don't trust any reviews. No, because I've been in the space for so long. Yeah.
When it says they're real people?
Yeah.
Shirley A?
Yeah.
You don't trust Shirley A?
Some people have manipulated Google reviews.
Okay, that's...
Yelp reviews. Everything is...
Okay, skewed. Got it.
Yes, can be skewed in that way to make it work. To act as if, I guess you'd say. So I'm just because I've been in the e-commerce space for so long, I'm a little more skeptical of that. I think word of mouth is the most trusted. If I were to hire a new lawyer, I would get a referral from a friend. I wouldn't go to Google and look it up, right?
Right.
But once you get on the call and you start talking to somebody and they pass the BS meter, right? Is there anything else that you've got for tips or you've secured more business over your competitors, right? So here's a great example. We're hiring someone. This is a real example. We're hiring someone to do a rebrand.
Yeah.
And we're talking to you, and we think you're great. And we like what you say, and we believe you. And we're talking to company B. And we like them, and we believe them, and we think they're great.
Yeah. How
would you advise someone like that? Take yourself out of it, but how would you advise someone to kind of like decide who to work with?
The thing is, and you maybe you will agree with me, maybe you won't, but
I hope we don't, but great.
I am not trying to chase money. I'm trying to chase like what is a good fit. So like if you're looking for different agencies and you're like, I'm torn between, it'll just be like, well, here's our vibe. You've met with me, you understand what we offer, blah, blah, blah. You stalked us on Instagram. That's our vibe. And if you feel like agency B is a better fit for you or you like their vibe better, choose them.
All right, you've thrown out some more technical terms here. So what is a vibe?
A vibe.
Vibe. What do you think by vibe? What does that mean?
When you just like click with someone or you're just like, I don't know. Or like when I introduce agencies to the team and they're like, oh, I just love the way they all gel together, or everyone specializes in something different. Like I really like their vibe.
I get what the word vibe means. Okay. I'm just trying. Sorry, I didn't know I know the definition of the word vibe. My fault for not clarifying that question. I'm saying like sometimes on a Zoom call, it's hard to assess vibe, right?
Oh, sure.
It's easier in person. And a lot of these deals that are done nowadays are over Zoom. Like you're a remote company, right? And so it's like how to represent that. So is there we look at portfolios of work, right? Is there anything else? And I think we're very different in the way we think about things. I'm very hardcore analytical and logical. So I'm looking more for that, like, oh no, go do this, this, and this, like that recipe. And you're more like, no, you just got to feel. You've got to feel it. How does it feel when you talk to them? It feels like we're vibing and we've got this, they got the culture fit and that kind of stuff. So it feels more like that's how you assess. When you sell that way, by the way, it's interesting because when I used to do corporate sales, I always sold logically and analytically and numbers based. But then when I learned how to sell both that and emotionally, I increased my ability to sell.
Sure.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
If you sell emotionally and in a way that is vibing, there may be
without numbers,
there may be an opportunity there to add in the numbers.
Oh, we provide the numbers for sure. But I think when you get down to, I don't know which direction to go, I feel like you should go with your gut.
Okay.
Versus like they're both showing numbers. They both look like successful agencies. They've got a portfolio to back that up. But if your gut's leaning one way or the other, I would say trust your gut.
What about, I want to dig into this, and this, I don't even know if this is for anybody else's benefit. This is my personal benefit now. Let's talk about a rebranding example, because this is real world stuff, which I think some people will benefit from.
Okay.
We are looking at, so we made an offer for a brand. Let's just say the logo and the branding is suboptimal. Okay. So there's some significant opportunities here. It's a very low bar to improve.
Yeah.
With that being said, how would you think about the rebranding of it? Like, should I think about the rebranding of it? Because what I've noticed in the past, we've hired agencies, is they promise a lot, and there's an engagement, and then it's a 5 phases, and we're gonna do this, this, and this, and it's 50% of the money up front, and then we get a third of the way through, and you're like, it's like you're committing to getting married after the first date. Is what a lot of it feels like to me.
Yeah.
And we just had a friend at the mastermind. Hopefully he's not listening to this. He's got his own podcast too, but he might be listening. But we've been talking about rebranding for like 5 years. Then he's talked about doing it. He hired an agency. He showed his examples, and all of us were like, it's marginally better. There's no way they came up with this without you telling them these are the constraints I want to live in. Because no agency would have just been so similar to what you have now. Did you just give them like carte blanche to be able to do what they want to do and be creative, right?
Yeah.
So how does somebody think about that when they're hiring an agency? Is there a way to say like, hey, I want to do it in phases. I want to pay like, I want to hire you for brand strategy as a phase, let's say. And then the second, or maybe brand research, research of the marketplace, phase 1. Then it's brand strategy, phase 2. Phase 3 is you tell me what would be phase 3? Be like creatives.
Yes.
Tell me how to walk me through this like I'm 5.
Oh, well, yes, I can tell you how we do it.
Okay, great.
I'm sure it's not how everyone does it, but the first thing right off the bat is communication, and we will tell potential clients like this will not be a good fit if we're not in communication regularly. So we follow up with clients every Friday. That's like, hey, if you haven't signed the contract, or if there's a due date that you were supposed to abide by that we haven't heard back from you, like just, a friendly check-in, we stay on track. But we come up with a timeline and then due dates. And then we feel like it's our job to make sure everyone's following those due dates. So I guess it just varies. But for a rebrand specifically, it's so communicative, like meeting with the client on a regular basis. And also it's super normal for us to create something and deliver it to them. And they're like, this was not what we were going for. That happens all the time. And it's super common.
Our experience with any type of creative project is garbage in, garbage out. And so I can't tell you to go make a logo that is cartoonish. Like that is not enough. It's going to be very unlikely you're going to hit the mark that's in my brain because I haven't given you enough of what I really want.
Sure.
Right? So that's been our experience with any type of creative, whether internal or external resources. So I assume you have some type of intake form.
Yep.
So you're bringing all that to get started with, and then you're trying to hit the mark and hit what they're saying along with your design strategy. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. So you'll fill out like basically a form that says, I prefer this type of font over this font.
Yeah.
I prefer, yeah.
Perfect.
Hard lines versus soft lines, that kind of thing.
Perfect.
So you fill that out, and then we have you send any examples that you like. Like I saw blah, blah, blah on Instagram and I really liked it. What'd you like about it? well, I just like the vibe. That's what people will say. And it's like, okay, did you like the colors? Did you like the fonts? And then we'll actually deliver up to 6 options. And those are no colors.
Perfect.
Nothing fancy about it. It's just a structure. And then they'll say,
I think this is really important. I want to hammer this home because we ask for this all the time. And a lot of times the colors will skew your opinion.
100%.
So you've got to take the colors out.
Yep.
Because you need to be A/B testing across the font, the edges, whatever it is that you're trying to, whatever metric you're trying to look at without the colors, because we all have biases.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
100%. So just starting with kind of the bare bones, and then typically they're attracted to 1 or 2 options, and then we'll come up with new options based off of those options, and so on and so forth. But an entire branding package can take up to 5 months, depending on communication and how responsive the client is.
You're at the will of how fast they are, how responsive they are. 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm missing. I mean, it's a big process, so I'm just trying to fill in the gaps. But
yep, no, I get that. This is great. No, this is something that it's always. We just Elizabeth and I just had this conversation the other day about it. Like she talked to a couple agencies. She likes this one better than the other, and the way they kind of offered the proposal, I was like, They kind of gave a range, and now we're at the higher end of the range, even though the scope is less. And it kind of gave me that. I've been burned so many times on that it's the overpromise, underdeliver.
Your BS radar.
Yeah, my BS was like, I love their designs. I like they got the vibe. I can see all their work. I can feel it, and that's the hardest part I think for non-creative people is to really understand. Like, you know it when you see it. Like it's obvious. Like you look at Apple, it's sexy. Like it's like you're like, I love it. I love the packaging. I love the design. I love the box. I mean, Sonos is that way for me. I love Sonos. Like excellent job. But I can't say it. You can't like analytical. I try to break it down like it's the font, it's the color, it's the background, it's everything all in one. And I've seen such a huge difference when you nail it versus when you don't nail it.
Yeah.
So let's get back to your business. And I know we're going long, but
how are we?
Unless do you have a hard stop or no?
No.
Okay, we're great then. Okay, so
gonna play pickle after this.
Oh, geez, here we go with the pickleball stuff. So my buddy owns Carbon Pickleball, so we'll have to send you. I'll talk him into send you a paddle to try it out.
I would love that.
You can upgrade from whatever paddle you're using right now to Carbon. So you've got a pickleball game today?
Not a game. We're just playing.
Just playing, just for fun. You've got a book though.
Yeah.
What time are you playing?
4:30.
Okay. Very serious about pickleball.
Yes.
5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. And you play with your husband?
Yeah, and friends, whoever I can.
But you and your husband play on the same team?
Yeah.
And how is that for your marriage?
Oh, it's 70% good and 30% bad. And the 30% bad is like we don't speak for several hours. Like car ride home, like space. It's really bad, but it's gotten a lot better. That
seems more than 30% bad. Just for several hours of not talking. Is it are one of you more competitive than the other?
The problem is, yes.
Which one? Okay.
Me by a landslide.
Wow.
But he's like a dummy, like he doesn't
do what he's supposed to do, is what I'm hearing. He isn't paying attention.
Yes.
He makes mistakes.
Yes. It's always his fault.
Yes.
I'm perfect.
I understand.
I never mess up. It's
the wind
him,
something got in your eye, and that's why you missed one.
Yes, but it's his fault. He should have got it behind me.
Should have got it better.
Yeah.
That sounds more than 30% bad. But
the problem is the really good outweighs the really bad. Like when we're gelling and we're just like crushing skulls, it's so fun.
It's awesome. Yeah. So you just got small tweaks.
Yeah. And we're getting better.
As soon as he gets better and learns, you're going to get a lot better and go from like 70% to 100%.
To be clear, because I know he'll probably listen to this, he is way better than me.
Okay.
Skill-wise.
Yeah, but our expectations are higher for him.
And they should be.
Yes, that seems fair. So he's just got to get better, basically, is what you're saying. Okay. So pickleball, big part of your life.
Yes.
All right. So let's go back to the business and talk about the business. So I think it feels like with the current size of your business, 9 people, it seems like financial is pretty solid. You do QuickBooks. You got it dialed in.
Our business manager handles all of the number
stuff. Okay. KPIs, good. Yep. You've got KPIs you're measuring each of the employees too. Operations dialed in?
I think so. I would like to have like a front of house individual
Yep.
at some point. That might be a 2024 goal. Someone who I'm currently doing all of the like intake forms, the original outreach. Not outreach, people reaching out to us and then me following up with them. I would like someone else to cover all of that because it does take time. So that's probably
But
something.
back of house is great.
Yeah.
What do you use for like for management, project management?
ClickUp.
ClickUp. Okay.
And we love it.
Yeah, a lot of people use ClickUp that I know and love it. We use something similar. We use Monday.
Okay, yeah. I've used Monday, we've used Trello, you know, all the things. And ClickUp's been our favorite.
Okay, so I think you've got everything dialed in. I just give this feedback to a friend, a guest at the mastermind this week. He's done all the hard work, and I feel like you've done all the hard work. You've got the foundation now, and now you just need to put the rocket boosters on this thing and take it to the next level.
Yes.
And this, a lot of times this is like a mindset situation. Like, again, digging into the numbers and saying, okay, I've got to understand my numbers because maybe I had a self-limiting belief that I could only spend $100 to acquire a customer or two, but I need to know what that is first. What's the reason? Do you have goals for 2024 for the business?
Yes.
Start there. What are the goals?
When does this release? Sorry,
maybe in a few weeks. So maybe early February?
Okay. Okay. We're in the middle of a rebrand, which is a secret.
Okay. Will the rebrand be done by the beginning of February?
That's
okay.
Think so.
You let us know.
Okay, cool. Anyways, we're in the middle of a rebrand, so that's going to we're going to stop doing some services that we've been doing because they're not giving me life.
Super smart.
So I'm just
Love
like,
it.
don't like
Focus, narrow focus.
So we're focusing in even more. So that's a big thing for 2024. And then we just launched like a new sales initiative.
Okay.
So we brought a new girl in to help us with that. So she's been doing a lot of like LinkedIn outreach, and me too. I feel like even though I'm not a numbers girly, like I'm good with people. I'm really good with sales. So focusing more on that. Like I was saying earlier, the client retention piece I feel like is in a really good spot. So now we're just focused on growth. So just doing more sales, and I want to be more in person than I have been the last couple of years just after COVID. I want to, fly.
In person with clients?
Yeah, with clients, like potential clients.
And I hate to go back to the number here, but what's the goal for 2024? To double the business, 50% the business.
I think we had like 40% increase in our net income from last year.
Okay.
And I'd like to see that up to 50 this year.
You'd like to do a 50% increase this year from last year?
Yes.
Now you're making a scary face, so it seems like you're scared. That seems like a tough goal. Is that true? Does it feel like a stretch goal for you?
I think it's a lofty goal. Yeah. I think it is a lofty goal because we're in the middle of a bunch of change right now. So, but I think that it's possible.
So I'm more of a hyper growth kind of guy. So let's break this down. I think you should double your business in 2024. Okay. So let's just accept that I'm right, and let's just get crazy. Let's just say I'm right. You could do this if you really figured it out, and we got a plan. And you did it. So, at the end of 2024, your business is now doubled.
Yeah.
What has to happen for that to occur?
More employees.
Why?
I feel like the team right now is at max capacity. So if we were to bring on even 2 new retainer clients, we would need to hire another human.
Okay.
And that's honestly, since the way we started the business, that's the way it's gone is, everyone's at max capacity. Well, it's time to hire someone else. Again, a year later, like, what are we going to do? We just brought in 3 new clients, hire someone else. So that's kind of been how we've been solving it. I don't know if that's a Band-Aid over like a larger problem. I'm sure it is.
I think it's difficult to find great people.
Yeah.
We've always struggled with finding great people in the U.S., outside the U.S. I would challenge you a little bit on that. It sounds like you have a good team, really great culture. What if you could enable each of those people to be more productive through AI? Instead of getting more people, you just made them more productive.
I don't want to lose the humanness that comes with us creating the content. And I right now feel like when I'm on Instagram or TikTok, I know right away if it's been touched by AI.
Okay.
And I'm sure that'll get better. AI is just
you
going
won't be
to
able to tell
continue to get
soon.
better.
Yeah.
But I think that part of the reason clients really like LC Creative Marketing is everything is unique. Everything is customized. And I feel like AI is very non-human.
So it's not human, just to be clear.
Not
It's
human
definitely
vibe.
not. Artificial intelligence is definitely not human. But I would challenge you a little bit on it and say that I'm not saying that you take everybody's jobs away and turn it completely over to AI. I'm saying what we're exploring and trying to figure out is how do I empower great employees to make them more. The classic example is a lot of the coding and code interpreter, programming stuff. It's making great programmers 10 times more productive because it's doing the tedious, basic coding that they don't have to do. They can just plug and play, almost like Lego blocks, right? They're able to take this Lego block with this Lego block, and now we've got a building. Instead of building it one tiny piece at a time, they're building it in blocks. You know, they use a library here, and a library here. I feel like marketing is kind of like that too. It's almost like modular in a lot of cases. So I would say hiring people is hard.
Yeah.
Finding great people can be hard. And it's difficult to scale people.
Yeah.
And if you already have a great team, it's hypothetically, you could have the opportunity to have, using AI, make the great people more productive without losing what you're trying to do, which is humanist.
And I do feel like we've dabbled in it, but we haven't like leaned all the way into the AI realm. Like we still have a copywriter, but even her, I've like just do all of our blogs, all of our press releases, all of that through ChatGPT, and then obviously read through it and spruce it up so it doesn't sound so robotic. But figuring out, I think that's the other thing, is like figuring out the AI that works for us too. Like graphic design is something that AI currently does, and honestly does like pretty well. So that's something that my business partner and I are constantly talking about. Like, what pieces of AI do we need to be incorporating where it still has that human touch of what we're doing, but it's saving us time and ultimately money.
Yeah, agreed. And it gives you scale, gives you leverage.
Yeah.
A couple of thoughts on that. I created a custom GPT. I trained my own GPT in ChatGPT around writing listings on Amazon, for example. So I did it in like 20, 30 minutes, no coding involved. I just took what I knew already and trained it on that. And the output is better than any copywriter we've ever had, ever, by far. Like, it works better.
Interesting.
It increases sales, it ranks better, all this stuff. I shared it with the group this week, and it works. Like, the data is unbelievable. And I'm like, that took me like 30 minutes to make.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I have expertise in that space, and I could train it on what I already know. So it made it just so much better. Doesn't mean we don't read through it, just to be clear. Like, it gets you 98% of the way. You still need to read through it. You don't have to hallucinate and add something that the product doesn't have, and a feature maybe that it doesn't have. So that's one thing that I would suggest really, really thinking about. And then the other thing is, we did this internally, and it was scary for some people, but really successful overall. Is I challenged everybody, really, when ChatGPT first came out over a year ago, and I said, "Listen, this is where we're going. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
Right.
AI is not going away. We're not putting the genie back in the bottle. It's going to happen more and more. So I challenge each of you to think about, how can you utilize AI? And so we'd have calls like every few weeks and be like, all right, what are new AI tools? What can you use in your job to have more AI in your job to take away the tedious parts that you don't want to do, and to make you more productive so that the business can thrive more, and then you can do more, and then we can pay you more, and everybody wins all the way around the board.
Right.
And I think really bringing that to the team was really, really powerful, because the challenge, especially, with a 9-person team, it's like you and Sarah are the engines a lot of times, probably. It's usually the case with founders. And so it's like, how do I empower everybody on the team to be an engine? Because you get 9 engines, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
Right. So I would suggest maybe doing that and getting everybody, making them accountable. Like, hey, listen, what can you bring to your job and to our company that adds to the process, that makes it more productive? And productive could mean doesn't mean just faster. It could be higher quality. It could be more creative.
Right.
It could be, I've played around like Leonardo AI, and Leonardo AI has an image creator that every letter you type, it regenerates all the way. You start typing red, and it'll be like, and I'll be red, and you start head, and it'll be a redhead, and then it'd be like woman, and it's boom, woman, and then green eyes, boom, red barn, boom. It just starts changing as you're typing. I think it's exciting as heck. But so everybody's got a different perspective on it. But I do think, I've believed this for over maybe a year and a half now. I believe there are companies that fully embrace AI, and then there are companies that used to exist. I don't think I just don't think they'll be able to compete. I don't think there'll be any way, because the company that fully embraces it will be able to operate with less people and provide better quality. So they just have a huge financial advantage over companies that don't do that. Right. And it's funny you say getting online. I mean, some of these companies don't have good websites. There's so much opportunity there. Those companies are going to get crushed by people that are really great.
Right.
So that would be something I would suggest doing, is getting your team on board, and especially since you have a good culture, get them on board to having them solve the problem with you. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Right. And that's something I think is really, really critical, because you're not going to be able to solve this on your own. I mean, you're already taking a TikTok class. Yeah, right. How can you go solve AI too? There's just too much going on. So, I mean, it is really impossible to keep up with what's happening.
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. I study and learn all the time.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable amount. So those are the things I think you should set your goal higher.
Okay.
Challenge you to set your goal higher. I think you double your business this year. No doubt in my mind, because you've got the foundation, you've got the people, and now it's just, how do I get more business?
Yeah.
And finding that one lever will change the entire business, and then challenging the team to solve that. So creating the demand, and then you solve the supply side with the AI, and then maybe you do need a few more people, but it's going to be less people than you think you need.
Sure.
And I think that would be really exciting for you.
That's super helpful. I am excited to take that back to the team. And full of ideas.
Got one more.
You're full of ideas. You got any more for me?
I got thousands. We'd be here all night. You miss pickleball for sure. Another one I would recommend. I recommend this all the time. If you're not in a mastermind or a group of like-minded people, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I joined some years ago, and they tend to be really expensive. And what I found I didn't like about that is that I'm just paying someone to put me in a room. So co-founded ours, and nobody makes any money off of ours. So ours is completely different. Now, we get nice houses and do fun things and go to dinners and do fun activities and, have a chef, and it's awesome, but we all just share the cost.
Right. And
what that has done is it's forced everybody to bring their A game, because if you don't bring your A game, we ask you not to come anymore to the mastermind. So we are a little more ruthless, I feel like, than you have in your culture. We're a little rougher than that. We ask you to leave the island and get off the island now. It's never a fun conversation, and people get bitter over it. I still hear about it from people from 5 years ago.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Devin Butler was in.
Yeah.
So
Devin was great.
Yeah. So I'm a part of the Arizona Entrepreneurs. Okay. And that to me was a big step, because the older I get, I feel like the more introverted I become.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
are you 60 or 65 now?
Yes.
How old are you, Liv?
I'm 29.
Whoa. Oh, my God.
I'm 29, and I literally feel like every single day I become more introverted. And
interesting.
When I was a kid, I was this little girl, ADHD, running around, so much energy, so extroverted. And now I'm like, I just prefer to stay at home with my corgis and read my book, So doing this Arizona Entrepreneurs has really helped to really put myself out there. And I'm showing up to things by myself and having a network and connect with people that I don't know.
Highly recommend that.
Yeah, highly recommend.
Did you go to the last one by any chance?
No, I wasn't at the last one. Okay. We were out of town, but I think they're great. I think what Devin is doing is great. And meeting like-minded people is, if you're not doing that and you're an entrepreneur, even if you're not an entrepreneur, with people your age, you're really missing out.
Yeah, you need to get out there into the real world.
Yeah.
Get out behind the digital and go meet people. I went to their 3-year event.
Okay.
I brought a friend of mine. It was a lot of fun. And then my friend, Shauna, who owns a gym, we did an episode with her about her gym, and she's going to double her business this year.
Are you telling everyone?
Yeah, I think minimum is double. But no, we have a game plan. Every time I see her every week. Every time I see her, she's like, oh, I did this, I did that, I got this, I hired this, we're doing Facebook, I got this. She's actively moving. So she actually went last week to the event. And she's like, got out of her comfort zone, went by herself, did some networking.
Good for her.
She texted me right afterwards. She's like, I met some people. I saw Devin, and it was great. And
it's
had a good time.
Hard to do that. It's hard to put yourself out there, I think, especially as you get older.
I'm older than you are. I don't have a problem with it, so maybe I'm an anomaly here. I have no problem going and just meeting new people and saying, I think it's a curiosity for me. For me, it's a curiosity. I want to learn. I want to help people. How do I talk to people? And just... And listen, a lot of times it's a very quick, hey, oh, awesome, you're a realtor, I'm going to move on kind of conversation. But it's hey, just get out there, and then you have these accidental kind of conversations.
Yeah.
And I think there's tremendous value in that. I mean, your network is absolutely critical for your success. And who do you contact to solve problems?
Yeah. It's all connections.
I love it. Well, I want to say this is perfect timing. So thank you so much for coming
Thanks
in.
for having me.
Well, you're not going to get to leave yet after we're done recording because we are going to show you a rebrand opportunity. And we're also going to talk to you about TikTok. So we got to get that done before you go play pickleball.
I love it.
Liv, where can people find more about you and about your business?
You can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I think it's Liv Plew.
It is. I saw it. It is Liv Plew. I was making sure it was you.
And then our website.
P-L-E-W.
P-L-E-W.
Okay.
Yep. And then our website is lccreativemarketing.com. And we've got our portfolio and a little bit about my team on there. So if people are interested, they can check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time with us.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with friends. And if you're an entrepreneur interested in coming on the show, visit therobgreenshow.com to get in touch. Stay curious and never stop learning, improving, or growing.